like and leave a heart, please.
There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vidor Lucksmith Show. I'm your host, David Gibson, bringing you another exciting week, another great show where we're unlocking the secrets to success in the oil and gas industry, one interview, one technical presentation, and one technical screw-up at a time. Not sure what today's technical screw-up will be, but when we find it, please let me know in the comment section. Like if my volume's not working, if my audio's not working. I think all the buttons are on. I had to reset everything right there before the show. But as always, happy to be here with you guys on this amazing Friday. Please let me know where you guys are watching from. Love to be able to give you a shout out here on the show. It's going to be an exciting week ahead of us. We've got next week the SPE Hydraulic Fracturing Technology Conference, HFTC, I think is what it is. We've also got NAPE for the latter half of the week, and then on Thursday as well there is the IADD, International Association of Directional Drilling's King of Diamonds. So it's the drill bit conference for the year that'll be taking place on Thursday. So I have been completely indecisive on what exactly I'm going to be attending next week. To just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all of one thing, after hours, meetings, clients, all of it. So I'll be in Houston next week at some point in time. If you want to meet up, give me a shout. And hopefully we still have time to be able to do all the things that I need to do. So it's going to be fun. And I just got a message here. It says Hamilton is now with Ferrari. Interesting. Wow. Okay. So we're getting F1 news during the show as well. So there we go. All right. Let's give a shout out to a couple of people. Say hi to Mr. John DeWart. Says happy Groundhog Day. Looks like an early spring is in the forecast. All right. Well, like I said, it's Groundhog Day every day here. We never do anything new at Gibson Reports or any of the other Dent Impact, Daisy Chain, Mad Sons, Dino Jiu-Jitsu, Gibson Catalyst. None of those businesses that happen over here do we do anything new. It's all the same stuff over and over again. Good morning to Bo Harden. Thanks for being here. Drew Ludlow tuning in from H-Town. Thanks for being here, sir. Do appreciate it. We'll hopefully be running into that guy next week. Robert says good morning from Tomball. Thanks for being here. And then Sir Casso says happy Friday from Norman, Oklahoma. And Drew says, yes, see you next week. Yes, I plan on it. And as always, the most influential person on LinkedIn, the number one fan of the show, LinkedIn user. LinkedIn user, thanks for being here. Good morning. God bless you all. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right. Well, today's show is definitely brought to you by Keydrill. All right. Thanks for Keydrill being a sponsor. We got a whole bunch of goodies to be able to give away today. Oh, hey. While I was looking there, hello there, David. I'm proud of you. I don't say that enough. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you, JP. I appreciate that. I really, really do. Oh, look, there we go. Eric tuning in. Hello from sunny south of France. He's usually the first one to come. It's like him or John DeWart. Usually the first ones to be able to tune in there. So, Eric, thank you for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Trip. Good morning, Mr. Gibson. I thought I was wearing a hat there for a second. I was like, whoop, but I'm not. Okay. I think it's just how my headphones are feeling this morning. It makes me feel like I'm wearing a hat. Okay, Trip, thanks for being here. Always a big supporter of Gibson Reports and the show. Do appreciate it. They recently had at Excel, they had a battery webinar for downhole batteries. I don't know if that's, Trip, you have to let us know if that's still available for people to be able to go back and watch after the fact, or if there's still some of the information, but good information nonetheless if you want to learn about downhole batteries. So Blaine Como says, good morning, David. Well, thank you, Blaine, for tuning in. And then we got Tony Evans tuning in from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Like I said, trying to get all of the swag into one hand at a time, or two hands. There we go. That's all the cool stuff, but we can go through it real quick. We got a Keydrill hat, Keydrill Arctic, Yeti, Stanley. This one's Arctic. Look, I don't know if it really makes a difference at this point. We've got, just in case you have a whole bunch of beverages that need to be kept hot or cold, we've also got a koozie, pen. We've got the cool little USB. And then I keep wanting to call it a tally book. It's not quite a tally book. It's more of just a notebook. But it says Keydrill on it. Thanks to those guys. And a really cool red 3D printed drill bit from here at Gibson Reports. we all know that this is what everybody wants, right? All right. Special thanks to Keydrill for being the sponsor today. So if you guys would put in hashtag Keydrill into the comment section now for your chance to be entered to win, and we'll do the drawing here at the end of the show. So like I said, there you go, hashtag Keydrill. Be sure to follow these guys on LinkedIn, putting out a lot of really amazing content, especially today when they told everybody about the show, because we've got an amazing guest on today. So let's play their quick little commercial, and we will be back with our guest right after this.
Keydrill is at the forefront of MWD technology. Driven by ongoing research and development, our systems are built to be rugged, modular, and customizable, meeting the specific needs of the industry. This dedication has positioned us as leaders in MWD system design and production.
All right, there we go. Hashtag Keydrill. Thanks so much for the guys sponsoring the show today. Really, really, really do appreciate it. Makes a huge, huge difference. All right, without further ado, if I could get this thing off the screen. There we go. It's too many buttons over here to be able to press. All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Zac Coplon. Zac, thank you for being here today, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I know that we could talk about a million different things, but first thing is I want you to be able to introduce yourself. Who are you, Zac, and what do you do, sir?
Zac Coplon. I started a company called Forecast. It's an oil and gas software company. In a nutshell, Forecast helps people evaluate oil and gas properties quickly, accurately, in bulk. It's a program designed to be affordable for small companies, but we also have some larger companies that use it. So goal is to be a one-stop application for evaluating deals.
So I've got to be able to ask the question, evaluating deals. How did you even get into knowing how to do that? What was your background to even be able to, I guess, venture into start creating a software company about evaluating deals?
Well, start about 2013 is when I went into banking and worked at a bank that was kind of a niche regional lender in oil and gas. And I was doing credit and financial analysis for that bank and was exposed to a lot of different types of oil and gas deals. So that's kind of where it began. And then took an opportunity to start a small mineral non-op type company in Oklahoma. So this is all in Oklahoma. And did that from 2017 to the end of 2019. So chased EOG around their Woodford play in Oklahoma. Did a lot of transactions during that time. And that's kind of when it started in oil and gas. And then at that end of that company, basically found myself unemployed after firing myself from the first company that I helped start and looked for something new, found a new business partner. He was gracious enough to believe in me with his money and helped us start this. So in the beginning, this was more purposed. We started as Blue Bison Energy and intended to be a service company, had petroleum engineers, and goal was to provide those types of evaluation services for other people. That started the beginning of 2020 in January, and there were no deals to be evaluated at the time, as many of you are aware. That was during COVID, Saudi dumping times, so there was just nothing to do, and we were kind of sitting there on our hands. But fortunately, had begun developing a product for ourselves so that we could do that type of thing faster. And Forecast kind of sprung out of that. So in the beginning, it was fairly simple and straightforward. Evaluate a couple wells at a time, do it quickly and accurately. And middle of 2020, we decided, let's give it a shot and become a software company. That seems like a fun idea. So, yeah.
Yeah, the software company in the oil and gas industry. It's tons of fun. Everybody
Really fun. Yeah. The first 3 years were more challenging than fun.
Well, talk to us about that. What were some of y'all's big challenges?
Well, first we didn't know what we were doing, so that's a pretty big hurdle. Never worked at or started a software company, but yeah, we learned the hard way. And we had a tool that was useful, and we'd essentially built it for ourselves originally. So we were kind of the user base that we were targeting, people who want to evaluate deals, whether they're engineers, landmen, finance people, geologists, whatever it may be. Everybody typically uses some kind of product, whether it's Excel or something off the shelf, to get to the final answer, which is, how much do I pay?
And so go into that a little bit. So like you talked about being able to evaluate deals quickly and accurately.
Mm.
Can you give us kind of like, I don't know, like a brief history of how deals are evaluated and almost like what's prior to you guys? Obviously you guys have done something here, but prior to you guys, what was commonplace, or what were you doing with the banks that you're working at, or your previous company that you fired yourself from?
Yeah. Typical type of workflow involves various data sources, public data, internal data, and then some type of application or combination of applications to utilize that data and create economic observations. Basically come up with PV10. When I was working at a bank, mostly what I cared about was, what is PV10? What can we loan against that? Multiply that number times PV10. That's how
For
much.
those that don't know, what is PV10?
Discounted cash flow metric. So 10% discount to cash flow for the life of an asset.
Okay. And so you guys were just trying to be able to figure that out. What kind of software, or you said you might use Excel or some other kind of softwares? Is it?
Yeah, combination of Excel, other.
You don't have to name them, obviously.
Yeah, trying not to, because we built this to move away from them. But other legacy reserve engineering types of platforms, combinations of different data sources. We were scraping data manually off of public sources. So it was kind of inefficient process, I guess, which slowed the process down. And we're picky and want to be as fast as possible while still obtaining the results.
How important is it in today's market to be able to evaluate deals rapidly?
That's more significant today than it has been in the past, I would say, because it's become increasingly competitive. When we were talking to a new client yesterday, a couple days ago, and they can't get through deals fast enough. So they don't even have the chance to say yes or no before the deal's gone. Other people are bidding against them. And this is an off-market deal type of situation. So if the deal flow and volume is high, then the need for speed increases.
And so what are some of the I know that this is something you've posted on LinkedIn about, where, just paying 48 months of cash flow is the old model. How difficult is it to be able to then bid against that? And for those out there that don't know, what is, just bidding 48 months worth of cash flow, or 60 months of cash flow, or whatever the number may be?
Let's be delicate.
Yeah, you don't have to be delicate.
There are no wrong answers, right? I mean, people have been very successful taking 48 months and multiplying it times an average of cash flow, and people have made a lot of money doing it that way. But at a certain point, a little bit greater accuracy could be necessary, because doing it that way from what I've observed, has a tendency to overpay on certain deals, especially when you're getting into horizontal wells that have a steep decline. If you're looking at a deal with not a lot of data available and you go average the last 5 months of cash flow and well's been online for 5 months, it's pretty hard to tell what it's going to do long term. So seeing discrepancies from PV10 to 48 months of cash flow that were material enough that people begin to care. So that's why I'm making the post, just to show the difference in here's 48 months of cash flow, here's PV10, which seems to be a common metric for acquisition targets. And it can be a pretty wide variance, usually on the end that people don't prefer, overpaying for something.
I tend to not want to overpay for things. Before we get too far into this, if anybody does have any questions, guys, feel free to throw them out there. We'll go ahead and jump into them. So this one comes from JP. What would be some key lessons you learned along your journey that you really allowed you to level up along the way? Delegation, time management, Twitter presence, X presence, etc.
One of the things that I think about the most and really focus on is building actual relationships, outside of software sales and how good is the software. When you're a new company and you're attempting to compete against literal multi-billion-dollar level companies, no one knows who you are in the beginning. No one cares. No one trusts you. Why should they? So you have to build that rapport and build the trust and prove to them that what you're doing is valuable, or else they're not even going to pay attention. And Twitter is its own strange animal, but it has proven to be useful. I met a lot of people off of Twitter, so building relationships off of Twitter has actually been a pretty big deal. My partner and the developer in Forecast, I met him through his anonymous Twitter account. I've met probably half a dozen to 10 of our clients through their Twitter accounts, anonymous usually. Investors, collaborations with other companies. Blake, if you're watching, met him off of his anonymous Twitter account, made lots of friends. So a lot comes from LinkedIn too, but Twitter it's a unique little subculture that I love.
I would say the same thing about LinkedIn and my success with it. I haven't dabbled enough into the Twitter space, but maybe I could start going
just
there.
Dip a toe in, it can go down some strange rabbit holes, but that's why it's fun too. People are anonymous, so they can say whatever they want.
Yeah, I think there's actually, if it still might be out there, there is a parody account about me out there.
Is there?
Yeah.
That's a compliment.
I mean, somebody out there doesn't like me enough to be able to spend the time to make a fake account about me. So
I hope someone makes a fake account about me one day. That's when you know you made it.
I guess. Let's put that one on my resume then. Robert asks, with hundreds of software companies offering products for the oil field, Zach, and with a banking background, how did you get investors to take you seriously? Phenomenal question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Initially, our angel investor, I guess you'd call it, somebody that I met through oil and gas transactions. So we had a brief but good experience and relationship transactionally. So we had already, kind of formed that level of trust. But as far as outside investment, we haven't really pursued that much. We're fortunate that we've gotten to the point that we're operating out of cash flow and kind of prefer it that way. So I don't know. I imagine it's pretty darn hard to get, serious capital, private equity and hedge fund level money to take you seriously if you've never done it before, and really haven't been trying to secure that type of financing. So we're doing it the hard way currently.
So with being the new company and having the product that you guys have, how has it been received against some of the legacy components out there? And what have you done to be able to, kind of combat what you were saying before, where, nobody knows who you are, nobody cares, why should they trust you? What were some of the things that y'all did there?
Well, it's hard to compete against established companies, companies that have been around for 20, 30 years. So we weren't trying to go out and replace people in the market. We are attempting to differentiate ourselves specifically by having a product that has everything in one location. So data, the tool itself, reporting capabilities, so that you don't have to go through multiple applications and sources of data to get from point A to point B. So differentiating ourselves in the market was definitely how we began approaching it. What was the second part of the question?
Just how overcoming the objections within, that client base.
Yeah, lots of time. I mean, I guess, started posting on social media, just trying to educate people and show them what Forecast does, why it could provide value to certain niche of people that are doing oil and gas deals and actively participating in transactions. So educating the market, educating people on who you are, being personable. Hi, my name's Zach. This is where I came from. This is what I do. This is why we're doing it. So a lot of social media interaction and some clickbait thrown in every now and then,
How has the clickbait worked for you then?
Clickbait gets more clicks than high quality content with data and informative. If I go make a forecast post that shows, oh, we just evaluated this merger between these two companies and PV10 equals this, and here's my workflow, you get some decent engagement. But if I throw up a picture of Landman Friday that AI created, then it gets 100 clicks, and it's a strange, delicate balance of content. I don't know, probably 60 or 70% of the content that I put out is not informative. But Chuck Yates had said once when I was watching him speak at the Petroleum Alliance event in Oklahoma City, if you want to change people's mind and convince people of something, throwing data at them is not the most effective way. People respond to humor, asking questions. Being informative doesn't necessarily get people to stop and pay attention. So that's why we throw in some level of what we hope is humor, things that people can relate to. And then, by the way, Forecast is also available. If you choose to click on this link, please schedule a demo, weave it in delicately. Or people just don't care. People care about people. People don't care about software necessarily. They care about doing deals, so that kind of gets people's attention, but people care about people. So that's the primary approach. Be a human being that is relatable, and then they'll care about what you're saying.
And so let me ask you this. So now that you've got the tool for yourself, and you said that, you were building a tool for yourself initially, the same way that I started Gibson Reports, as I had built something that helped me in my sales efforts to be able to know and understand the industry. How often do you find yourself going down a rabbit hole on your own evaluations and stuff, instead of just doing maybe some of the day-to-day tasks that you might have? Because, building a tool for yourself can be somewhat intoxicating.
Yeah, I want everything in it, right? So, but the market doesn't want everything in it necessarily. So there's definitely a balance of what do I want versus what does everybody else want? Because I'm not just out there trying to sell it to a bunch of people like me. I haven't found a whole lot of people like me. I'm kind of weird, but responding to what the market wants, but also not finding yourself constantly doing custom development per client, because that just derails you from the primary goal.
So if somebody was wanting to get into the space of, purchasing mineral rights, purchasing, working interest in oil and gas wells, or, non-op interest, override interest. I mean, there's tons of different things. What would be some advice that you would have for somebody who's never even gotten into the space before?
Hold on tight if you're going to jump into it. It's a competitive space. There are, just like any other industry, there are many professionals doing it very well already. So it's not going to be very easy. Do a lot of research, talk to people who have done it and done it successfully. And I'd probably start small and work my way up if I were starting from ground zero. Talk to technical people, absorb as much as you can, go look at deals that are available. Deals are hard to find. Good deals are hard to find, I would say. So you can find deals on public auction sites for comparable examples. I would not start with working interest if it were me, because working interest is terrifying. You're at the mercy of the operator. But people like it. People do it well, make a lot of money doing it. I'm advocating for minerals because you buy them and then you get checks in the lockbox and then it's over. And that's more palatable for my risk tolerance is pretty high, but I've managed working interest before. I don't find it to be a good time.
Is it just the high level of risk, or the cash calls that?
For sure, the cash calls, and administratively managing all the wells, managing all the data that you're getting from the operators. It's just a lot. Whereas minerals, as long as there's a well drilled on them and you bought it at the right price, you get checks. That's awesome. Put it in a spreadsheet or whatever property management system you have. Don't think about it too hard. Hope that they drill more wells. Working interest is not for the faint of heart.
That's probably why I went straight for the gusto, went straight for doing working interest deals. I just we're gonna dive in. We're gonna dive into the deep end.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: as far as what you've been able to put together with the program and being able to educate the clients out there, what are some success stories that you've heard as far as people being able to get into the industry potentially for the first time, or properly evaluating deals for the first time?
We don't have a lot of clients that are just starting out for the first time, but we've seen people that will go into auction sites and evaluate a deal and do a good job, buy a good asset, and keep doing it. But the people that are already active in the industry and have been doing things the old way, multiplying by cash flow or some method that is less technical than the way that they, a less technical method, those people tend to see more value out of it quickly. So I would not necessarily say that forecast is a tool for non-professionals. There is definitely some element of knowledge in oil and gas and finance that helps somebody get started.
All right, let me jump over before we get too far behind on this. But Robert's got a question. Do you see forecasts evaluating economics of geothermal developments in the future? There's little historical data thus far.
I'd make it tough with little historical data. I mean, it's definitely dependent on the availability of data. So if the data doesn't exist, it's going to make it pretty tough, but sounds like an opportunity. If enough people in the market want it and it's valuable, I guess we would consider it. But for now, if there's not data to use, that would be pretty challenging. And we have enough challenges without creating more obstacles. So we're going to stick to oil and gas for now, I'd say.
So what are some of the big challenges that y'all are currently facing?
Oh, current challenges. I would say not going into customized development, going back to the point from earlier. We have a lot of clients that have unique demands, I guess. We have a lot of clients that want to see different styled reports or economic visualizations. And you can't customize something for everybody, or you'll just be spinning your wheels. So the biggest challenge right now, at least on the development side, would be finding the perfect marriage of what the market wants and what our existing clients prefer, meeting in the middle of that somewhere. Because we'll do it. If we have a client, they ask for something, sometimes we'll just make it. But then you just derailed your development team by a day or two, and now they're not working on the core features of the roadmap. So
speaking of that, what is the roadmap of the future of evaluating oil and gas deals?
Automation, I would say. The ability to click a button that has slick algorithms behind it, take out some of the technical analysis part for you and allow you to make decisions faster and in a more informed way. Not doing things by hand. I mean, I've seen clients that will literally still draw decline curves by hand, which is fine. They look very pretty and they look great. But doing that one at a time, as opposed to you have 6 million wells that are auto forecast and you can go adjust them with a couple button clicks as you see fit. Yeah, the automation is pushing things forward, and the data quality is improving. Data providers are working hard to clean up public data and make it easier for people to access and use. Shout out to RexTag. They're our data partner.
So what do you think would be the result to the industry of this becoming a more automated process? Where do we, what could potentially be happening in 10 years because of that?
Well, I think people become available to do higher level tasks and not sit here and click buttons and hard code data in just to get to the end results. So smart people will be able to do more intellectual based work instead of sitting there smashing buttons. And that should advance the industry.
Do you think we could get to a point where the deals that are being evaluated have less discrepancy in them because it's easier to be able to evaluate them?
I would say that there is certainly a possibility that the margins tighten as competition increases and people have better tools. And I've had a conversation recently with someone who suggested we don't want to help you sell forecast. Why would we want to help other people get closer to the right answer, cut out our arbitrage? Oh, okay, I hear that one a lot, but technology and progress of automation is an inevitability. So that's going to happen either way.
I mean, don't you take it as a bit of a compliment that somebody would
Sure.
say that your software is their technical advantage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a compliment. It doesn't result in a sale immediately. And we certainly don't go out pitching it like, we're here to replace jobs. We're not here to replace jobs. We're here to replace mundane tasks.
So have you gotten any success stories back from clients about saying, hey, you helped us not spend, $2 million on a bad deal?
For sure. That's actually exactly one of our ads. One of our clients, new-ish client, who's evaluating a mineral deal. Can I say where it is? A gas basin. And it was a fairly sizable multi-million-dollar transaction. And on the first training call, we ran through this deal with them. And he said that he was prepared to execute a deed for, I think it was $900,000 or something. And we got about 2.2 million on PV10. Like, I'm about to leave 7 figures on the table. This was a valuable training session for the first go around then. So yeah, I mean, that's what Forecast is designed to do, is help people obtain the most value that they can out of their deals, not leave money on the table and not overpay.
So with us being on the cusp of NAPE next week, what do you envision coming out of next week for yourself?
I'm excited just to go to NAPE again. Well, I've been to NAPE every year that it's been on since I got into the industry, I guess. So 7 years, not terribly long, but I love NAPE. For myself, I want to go see my friends, because I moved to Montana a couple of months ago and I don't have any friends here yet. So I'm really excited to go see my friends. I saw Scott on here. Hi, Scott. See you next week. So networking, seeing
Scott.
all the people.
Hey, Zach, hope to see you next week.
Well, I'll find you. Yeah, I'm excited to go. We have a booth for the first time, 1953, over by the Minerals Hub. And I'm excited to be there. I like NAPE. I think NAPE's fun. Some people don't agree and think that it's not a valuable use of their time, but relationships are everything to me, and I've made a lot of them going to NAPE. I don't have a lot of expectation one way or the other for, are we going to get a bunch of deals out of it? I hope we do, because booths are expensive, but I'm going for multiple reasons. Going personally, because I want to see a lot of different people, and I'm really excited for that. Partner Andrew, Blake. So our team is scattered across the country. Andrew, our developer, is in Houston. So I like going to Houston just to see him. So that'll be fun. Blake is in Denver, and he's going to go to NAPE with us. So get to see the team in person again finally. I don't prefer to do things over Zoom all the time. It's just kind of the nature of the situation. Hopefully we do get some deals out of it. And there'll probably be some good parties. I like good parties.
I'll agree with you on that one. So for somebody who's never been to NAPE, what could they expect if they were to go?
Lots of booths full of people that are selling something. I mean, the goal of NAPE is to sell something in the end, right? It's where deals happen, whether it's software deal or vertical prospect type of deal, mineral deal. So it's a great place to go look for deals. At least I think. The whole community seems to come together, and the people that I've talked to about NAPE so far recently are pretty excited about it. I mean, it's got the most hype and good vibe feeling that it's had since I've gone. People do really seem to want to go this year, so should be a fun one.
So for anybody that does go and sees potential deals, what would be some of your personal red flags that, like, either off of a deal sheet, talking to somebody, whatever it may be, that, like, even before they put it into an evaluation software, that would make you say, don't even touch this?
Complex title. That is a challenge that can be costly. I guess the team itself, whoever's put together the deal, experience of the team. But you can find deals from people that haven't been around for a long time. So I don't know. I like to look at all the deals if I can, if I have time, and decide. What are your red flags?
Geologists who lick their finger and stick it up in the air and then draw lines on a paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't seen that. I mean, I say a red flag would be if a geologist is sitting at a booth and doesn't lick a rock. That would be a red flag. I got rocks in here that I lick every now and then just to maintain the status quo.
I think it's more so for me is just there is a large amount of technology in the industry now, as opposed to yesteryears, right? And the apprehension to use any of that technology to be able to reduce risk and uncertainty in a potential project, and just say, we're gonna wing it, like, and that comes from, you know, an investor's standpoint. For them, there's nothing really to risk. You know, they're being carried. So for the investor, it's a little bit more of like, oh well, I don't know if you've got my best interest at heart.
People at times get comfortable with the way that they've done things and can be leery of new technology, but I feel like based on the well performance, especially since 2018-ish and forward, you can pretty well see that at least completion techniques and other technology has improved performance. So I fully embrace it.
With all of the acquisitions that have been taking place, do you anticipate a like almost like a new development in other basins and other areas, right? So kind of my example of this is that in yesteryears, when some of the major operators would make an acquisition, especially in the Midland Basin, they would sell off, you know, the tier 2 or tier 3 acreage. And then you'd have, you know, private equity companies or something come in, buy up that acreage, prove it up, and then just be purchased again by one of the other major operators in the area. But now we're seeing and hearing that, you know, any acreage that has been purchased through an acquisition is staying, that inventory is staying with the major operators. So you're going to see a lot of people make money and then be able to exit the company or go do something else. Geologists, petrophysicists, a lot of these guys have ideas. Do you think that's going to result in, like I say, a lot of new basins or new areas being potentially tested out?
I certainly hope so. It's a tough question, but you'd like to think so. I mean, we have several clients that have left major companies and gone off and started their own thing. And yeah, I mean, it's happening. I hope to see success in that. You know, we're drilling a lot of tier acreage, so eventually I don't want to be in the camp of we're going to run out, but at a certain point we need to find something new, expand upon what exists. But like you were mentioning earlier, technological improvements have increased efficiencies in extracting hydrocarbons, especially in the last 5-6 years. So a combination of all of the above. And like from mineral buyer's perspective, could go a couple different ways with it. If I have a major come buy acreage where I own minerals, maybe I have a greater level of confidence that it's going to get drilled because they certainly have the budget to do it and the need to do it. I might not prefer that operator over another, but having some reasonable ability to predict that they're going to drill it because they're big, they have the money and the resources. There's something to be said for that.
How difficult is it to be able to get out in front of some of these operators and be able to get the mineral rights before the drilling permits are issued?
I would say that's one of the hardest parts. Guessing and being right without proprietary information of some kind that you're not supposed to have. That's pretty tough. And that's why professional mineral buyers that are out there with boots on the ground spending a lot of money organically tend to have better yielding results.
Excellent.
That's the hard part. Yeah, it's hard. Get out ahead of an operator's drill schedule without having it because you're keying in on an area that looks pretty good based on whatever information you do have. That's one of the hardest parts, I would say.
We got a couple of comments here we'll touch base on. So great interview. Let's do it again tomorrow in honor of Groundhog Day. So are you busy tomorrow? You want to do this one over again?
We can do it again. That's Andrew. He's our developer. Let's make him get on here live.
Nothing against Andrew. Most developers I know are usually not of the type that want to get onto camera. I can say for certain, my partner and developer doesn't want to do it. So
Andrew is a uniquely talented individual who is very capable of speaking on a podcast, and I would highly encourage getting him on here to have a in-depth technical conversation one day. He has done it and he will do it. I'm putting him on the spot right now. Go ahead and decline Andrew if you want to. He'll do it.
All right. Then Nathan Hammer says Zac Coplon, the man with the plan and the best mineral eval platform ever. Tell me, how does it feel to be able to see people say that to you?
Well, it feels a lot better than praying that you make payroll every 2 weeks, which is, the first 3 years of the company. So we've known that we had a good product, but hearing people say it out loud, it starts to make you feel successful. Dare I say proud of oneself? I'm not sure if I'm proud of myself yet. Probably getting closer, but yeah, it's nice to have support from the community. People are finally seeing it, using it, appreciating it, and most importantly, making money with it. So,
at what point in time did you guys know that y'all were onto something?
Well, I thought we were onto something when I first saw the original, I guess, beta. It wasn't even hardly a beta, it was a prototype. Because I'd never seen anything that could do what Forecast did, even in the early stage, or at least I hadn't seen very many applications that did it. And if there isn't a whole lot of competition out there in a niche, and that niche touches a lot of people, then that's why we kept doing it, bleeding money, because we saw it, I would say from the beginning, but as things progressed and became more sophisticated, once you finally start breaking even, I guess is the right answer. That's when you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or any light at all. It can be a dark journey up until that point.
So how did you feel after you guys started to break even and started to make that progress to being proud of oneself?
More pressure, but in a different way, I guess. So now let's not screw this up, boys. Now we need to capitalize on the opportunity. It's within our power, so don't blow it. And then you start to have more employees and people working with you. So then you get the added pressure of, caring for others, responsible for their welfare, financially at least, making sure that you make payroll. So when it's just you by yourself, I'm pretty scared that I don't make payroll for myself, but now I have to think about other people. And that's a whole new set of challenges. Now I get to be HR too.
Well, the compliments keep rolling in. You guys keep bringing them. So Ethan says you should be proud. You guys actually created something unique. Keep up the solid work, amigo.
That's a good guy. Hi, Ethan. Ethan's over at EnergyNet. They've also created something unique and valuable. So big fan of Ethan and the team over there.
So, here, I was almost about to. So, best software, best team from LinkedIn user.
Anonymous.
I don't think they mean to be anonymous. It'll probably show up on LinkedIn, but when it brings the information over to a third-party software like this, it doesn't bring in all of the information. So
we do have a lot of clients that prefer to remain anonymous too. So it is possible that it's a client. When you're doing this type of work, you don't always want people to know where you're working, which can be part of the challenge of selling the software too. no matter how much people like it at times and how much value they're getting out of it, they don't necessarily want to tell their friends and create more competition for themselves. So that's been one of the bigger challenges. Having testimonials from people who are willing to say, this is what I use and what I do and a competitive advantage. You should buy it too and compete against me. That can be a challenge.
So are you hearing stories from your clients of them being able to find, like the diamonds in the rough then, things that
Sure.
they never would have thought to even look at, but now because they can process it so much quicker, they can just kind of creatively brainstorm stuff and just, for lack of better terms, just start clicking around on stuff and then potentially finding deals that maybe not even on the market, but stuff to be able to go chase.
Since starting this, I have seen some of our clients do deals that blew my mind. I went and bought these minerals for 30 grand and I'm going to sell them for $900,000. Oh, I'm in the wrong business again. That is remarkable. I've seen some deals. Most of those types of quality deals are sourced on the ground by people, calling on mineral owners, making direct calls, not with a lot of go between in the middle. But yeah, I've seen some deals that really did impress me, and more power to them. Hope they keep doing them.
Have you been able to find deals for yourself?
No, that's not really the focus. It was fun. I really like buying minerals and leases, flipping deals. It's cool. You can make a bunch of money pretty quick that way if you get lucky and work hard enough and find opportunities. But when I get distracted with that thought, I remind myself that in theory, software has a better multiple. So, this is about making money in the end. We do enjoy it. It's fun. It's a better job than most things. But I constantly remind myself that software has better multiples. So stop thinking about it, Zach.
So what is the plan then? Is, if you're saying multiple is the plan then to be able to exit the company at some point in the future?
It's not really the goal right now. We actually had that conversation internally and just discussing, should we go raise outside capital and grow faster and become as big as possible? But kind of like staying lean, operating within cash flow and seeing what happens. Kind of the Richard Ball reminded me of it when we were at a concert in Red Rocks and I was describing this to him. He's like, oh, that's the Zuckerberg model, grow the company. So that's the goal. Grow the company, have quality customer service, make sure clients are happy. There's no plan to sell the company. I'm not actively pursuing anything like that, honestly.
All right, we got another one here from Wes. It says, great discussion. New startups are not for the weak-hearted. Only the strong will survive. Keep the momentum moving. Got to run. Thank you and enjoy today's discussion.
Startups are for sure not for the weak-hearted. If you want to do one.
What advice would you give to somebody who might be watching today who, I don't know, might be chasing minerals or, doing something else oilfield service related, who's thinking about starting their own software company?
Ooh, software company to me is harder than mineral companies. Software is a grind. I would say if you are involved in a relationship, you should speak to your significant other about this and have a very straightforward, open dialogue about how much of your time it is going to take and take away from your friends and your family, because that will happen. You will work late nights, weekends, anytime a client contacts you, basically, which could be anytime. It's going to be very hard, especially in the beginning. If you get to the point of some advice that friend of mine that has successfully sold a software company gave me at the airport bar on the way back from NAPE last year, That if you find yourself in year 5 and you're not where you want to be, you're not making money, you're not making progress, you should probably reassess what you're doing, because you likely have a skill set that can make money doing something else. So if you're still in the dark place after year 5, seriously consider whether it's the right thing to keep doing. And the first 3 years are going to be terrible. So, just expect that.
Excellent. Well, any last words that you would like to be able to leave the audience with, other than the morbid forecast for starting your own company?
It could be worth it. There's a 3 to 5% chance that going through that early phase of the roller coaster could lead to something great. If you have a good idea, you have the resources, and your life dictates that you're capable of starting something like that. I'm not trying to dissuade people from it, but it is a serious undertaking and not something to be just flippantly decided upon. And I'm looking forward to NAPE. You're going to NAPE, right?
I will. I am going to do my best to be there. There's a lot of things that are happening that Thursday that are pulling at me to.
I guess I should plug forecast. Should I plug forecast?
Yeah. How about this? Answer this question: who would be somebody that should call you?
People who are spending money on oil and gas properties, in a nutshell. So if you're buying or selling oil and gas properties and you evaluate them, then that's a pretty broad stroke. But our clients range from people with land backgrounds, petroleum engineering backgrounds, geophysics, finance, Bitcoin mining companies. So if there's a need to evaluate a property, then we would be happy to talk to you. You can find us on our website at forecast.io, forecast with a 4. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, if you care to go down that rabbit hole, at Zacurate, Zacurate. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Zach, for being on the show today. Here, let me let's do a quick little giveaway. This for everybody that was put in the hashtag Keydrill. Like I said, we've got all of the goodies to be able to give away here. Go over here and hit the button. We'll see who our amazing winner is for today. Do appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this Friday. Like we said, lots of things to be doing next week. And our winner is Nathan Hammer. Nathan.
Hammer time.
There we go. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Give me your address, and we will be sending you a lot of really cool swag from Keydrill and myself here at Gibson Reports. Zach, thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it. It's great to be able to hear about your journey into the oil and gas software. A lot of things that directly reflected in my story in us getting started at Gibson Reports and everything that we've done there. So it's good to know that there's other people that went through the exact same thing or still going through the exact same thing that we have gone through. So
it's gonna be worth it, David.
One of these days
already. Yeah.
One of these days I'll be able to.
I love those. Those are awesome.
Hey, I will. What color would you like? I will make sure to be able to.
Blue or green, probably.
I think we've got a blue one sitting around here somewhere,
Yeah.
Tracy. Let's put Zach's name on a blue one to make sure I take to NAPE next week. I will deliver it to you, sir, and we will get to meet in person, do some networking there.
Look forward to it.
All right, everybody. If you have not already, be sure to check out Zach's LinkedIn, Twitter. Be sure to find us potentially there. He's definitely going to be at NAPE. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to try to make it down there. I'm torn between seeing clients and then seeing potential clients with NAPE. Lots of stuff that are going on next week. Keep us posted. Don't know if there's going to be a show next Friday. A lot going on. Next week is also the grand opening for my jiu-jitsu gym. So hopefully that goes off without.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hopefully that goes off without hitch. We'll keep pictures posted and stuff. So all fingers crossed there. That's it for me. Hopefully everybody has a fantastic and wonderful weekend. As always, let me find the thing. Know your industry.